Good morning and welcome to Political Spectrum, live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakura this beautiful Wednesday morning. And yes, this is where we keep you updated on political developments across the country, and of course we bring you insight and exclusive interviews as it happens in the political scene. I am Otobasi Tom.
And I am Francis Edit. Welcome to Political Spectrum.
Of course, today on the show, as in the normal routine, we'll begin with some updates on political developments, of which, you know, it's trendy. It's the season of declaration and, of course, season of getting to dig out facts and figures. People are aligning and realigning. And, of course, when we talk about zoning and all the intrigues involved, this is where you get the gist in detail. And we'll just get started already. It appears that days of electoral malpractices is about to come to an end or to be phased out, as President Muhammadu Buhari said no contender for any political office would be able to manipulate with billions of votes or manipulate voters anymore. Well, that is going by the new Electoral Act Amendment Bill that was recently signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari, and they are willing and ready to, of course, follow that to the latter. Francis, I think at this point you would like to share some one or two thoughts with us now.
Well, when it comes to electoral malpractice in the community, I think this has been something that has been consistently in the Nigerian politics, that you rarely find a situation where we conduct general elections, either within the party system or the national elections that we oftentimes conduct in the country, that you wouldn't find situations where you know, cases of malpractice, cases of ballot box snatching, cases of you know, over voted figures. You have the large disparity between the number of persons who actually were registered voters in a particular ward, a particular constituency. And when you match them with the numbers of persons who vote, you discover that you have an extra large number compared to the numbers of accredited voters. So this is something that has consistently marred the credibility of the Nigerian electoral system. This is something that has consistently been a case of concern for Nigerians, whether or not we will be able to ever conduct free, fair, and credible elections.
Yes, exactly. Talking about conducting free, fair, and credible election, now is the time to get with it. I know that a clause 84 or thereabout speaks about that the total number of accredited voters at a particular polling unit to a large extent will determine the number of votes count at that point. So no longer would we have this where we have 20 accredited voters and then the total vote cast there will be like 100. I know the disparities in votes and the magic that happens when it comes to electioneering is something that, of course, Nigerians have always been baffled over time. And yes, now is the time to change the narrative across board. And President Muhammadu Buhari has acknowledged that, and that is what will be the normal going forward, perhaps. So we just hope and believe so.
Well, we just have to hope and believe, but beside hoping, I think it's about time we take actions. I mean, coming from the president at this point, looking at the realities on ground, Nigerians might not, you know, be in a hurry to jump into the bandwagon of believing that Mr. President is going to be able to give to us credible and fair election. Taking a cue from the fact that, I mean, it's been weeks since he announced that ministers or political appointees within his cabinet who are vying for one office or the other should resign, and we have not seen any action. We have not seen any counter reaction coming from his office. And then you recall that some local state governments have equally issued similar statements, and you've had massive you know, resignation from political office holders. So when you place that at par with the president's point of view, or with his presidential will presently, Nigerians are not very excited to think the president will come through with his words.
Well, exactly. Talking about the president coming through with his words, I think the president is one person that has, you know, displayed silence as a golden option. He would be silent, but not because he does not know what to do, but maybe perhaps he wants to know the opinion of people, because once he's that quiet, you hear people from different sectors, people from different angles coming up with different opinions and ideologies, and I believe the president uses that opportunity to sample opinions before he actually comes up with a final response. on certain issues?
Well, I hope we don't get to a point where we have a president silent becomes denial of the public's right, the public's constitutional rights and privileges. Because when you keep silent for a long time, and then we're talking about the primaries coming up in the month of May, and April is almost over and done with, and you're yet to, show us that political will that you're willing to take the necessary steps to deliver on your promises to Nigerians. When that happens, the average man would say this is just another political statement. This might just be another of those, lengthy, mouthy, fanciful proclamation by the government that is not going to amount to anything at the end of the day, and it's not going to augur well. I mean, if we're going to have a credible election come 2023, then all hands must be on deck. Every statement that is made from the government corpus should be followed to the letter. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of post-election crisis.
Well, we hope we don't have a lot of posts, because at this point we want to minimize the crime rate, and post-election crisis is not something to look forward to.
Definitely, it's not something to look forward. But we have another person joining the race. Senator Ali Ndume said they're working strongly on ensuring that Amechi gets the APC ticket. We're quoting his statement, he said, "We are going to make it Nigerians know that they want. We are going to make Nigerians know what they want. Nigerians no longer look at things parochially." Okay, so among these candidates so far, Amechi stands out. He is the bridge between the old and the young. And Nigeria is at a critical stage where we need somebody that has the energy, intellect, and acceptability and can connect with people. And so if I am to do a screening, I will screen out those above 63. Okay, so this is somebody campaigning for Amechi, and like we have, every political supporter, every politician has a supporter, and definitely will not speak against his candidate of choice. And so we are going to see a lot of this statement being dished out. But then, is Amechi truly the missing link between the Nigerian people, the Nigerian crisis, and uproar or cry for a change, and the change that we actually need?
Well, as we speak, I believe Senator Ali Ndume is speaking from a place of party politics, because truth be told, 2015, when Nigeria, people all across Nigeria came together to form the All Progressives Congress, they had their own zoning formula developed at that point. At that point, they needed a northern president, and all hands were on deck to ensure the emergence of President Buhari as the president. And they also, on that same round table, agreed that after the northern regime, after the northern administration, power would have to move to the south. And exactly who was on that deck right there at that time? It was no other than former governor of Rivers State, Amechi, Rotimi Amechi. And of course, you would agree that to a large extent, he has been in the intrigues of politicking as far as APC is concerned. He has been at the foundation. He was a campaign manager for President Muhammadu Buhari. So they're speaking from the place of, would I say, gratitude, from the place of what he has merited over time. So so far so good from Ali Ndume's point of view. He believes no other candidate has come out from the south. They are not streamlining it to the southeast. They're looking at the south in its entirety. And from his statements during that media interview, he practically said that Amechi is the only Nigerian that has contested, and leaving one to wonder, does it mean other aspirants are from Ghanaians or perhaps other parts of the country? So it's interesting to note, but I know when he was attacked on that issue, when he was followed up on that issue, he actually said, well, no, that he's talking about not a sectional leader, but someone that embraces all culture, all religion as far as Nigeria is concerned. And you would recall that Rotimi Amechi was recently banned by the Muslim faithfuls, making him a title holder as far as Islamic is concerned in Nigeria?
Well, I don't know about being a title holder and how that is going to translate into him being more welcome or more receptive or recepted or accepted rather by the northern region.
He's seen as a national candidate already.
He's a national candidate. Everybody who is aspiring right now is a national candidate. I mean, we are all Nigerians. They are all Nigerians. Nobody came from... He doesn't share. That is his personal sentiment. But Nigerians know that as long as you are a bona fide son and daughter of Nigeria, you are a national aspirant. You're a national candidate. So whether or not you think that person is, the Constitution already has established that fact that they are all Nigerians, and so they are entitled to run for that position. And talking about Amechi being the national candidate that is going to be more accepted cross-border, I would give it to him. He has executed a couple of projects that would make the Northern Axis, come to terms with his interest or his ability to, align with the northern interest,
or protect the interest
of the north. Yes, one would agree. So a lot of Nigerians would say so, because if you look at the major giant projects that the federal government has, carried out within his leadership as the minister, you would see that it has favored the northern part of Nigeria than it favors the south or the west. So that is an argument that can be established on basis. But then let's jump away from the fact that he is already contesting. Remember, presently we're having, recently rather, we had issues between Amechi and Governor Nyesom Wike concerning the properties of River State government, the aircraft in particular, and we had accusations and counter-accusations.
They have always had issues ever since Wike became the governor of River State.
Yes, so these issues were not just there. These issues have been there. And this time around, Wike actually went as far as giving Nigerians proof of what he had, and that it was not just mere accusations, but these were things that came up with fact. Until today, the minister is yet to, clear the air and, on a tone of finality, be able to settle the issue between himself and Governor Wike and the River State government. Now, this is another issue that might raise an eyebrow to some parts of Nigerians asking, okay, so if this person was able to lead River State for so and so period, and from the time he left office till the present moment, there are still issues bordering on the state's assets, there are still issues that have been unresolved, how then can Nigerians trust such a person to be able to handle the affairs of Nigeria unbiasedly and then deliver what we want?
Well, Senator Alin Dume, who has been in the Federal House of Representatives since since 2003 through 2011, and then moved to the Senate since, of course, the year 2011. He has the experience. He has seen these people. He understands how Amechi works, and he so believes that perhaps he is the reason. Maybe because he has not seen other viable candidates or more candidates from the south that can compete favorably well with the likes of former governor of River State, Rotimi Amechi. We look forward to see that, but until now, he stands a chance as to what he believes or what he chooses. It's his personal opinion, and no one can, query him for that. But moving ahead, of course, the Kano State Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje has informed his River State counterpart Nyesom Wike that he will lose the 2023 presidential elections. According to reports, Wike, a People's Democratic Party (PDP) presidential aspirant, paid a visit to Kano State on Monday. He paid Governor Ganduje, a member of the All Progressives Congress (APC), a courtesy visit, and he is so blunt with what he said that he is going to lose. Man, who does that in this part of the world? No, hardly would you see. Well, he's also speaking as vocal as Governor Nyesom Wike would tell someone you would lose the election, because he's that blunt when it comes to statements.
Well, there's nothing wrong with being blunt, being honest, being sincere, and being straightforward about it. We appreciate that. I mean, everybody who wants to advance in life would appreciate being told the hard truth, regardless of how painful it might be. And we can say this is a situation playing out here. But then we in Nigerians have to differentiate between party truth and reality truth. Now, what is the measure? what are the parameters behind Ganduja's statement? Don't forget, these two persons are of different party. Wike is of the PDP, Ganduja is of the APC. So there are different party interests, different personal interests. So one might be tempted to ask at this point, what are its parameters for saying so? Is it saying that from a political point of view? Is it saying that from a party point of view? Is it saying that from a Northern Elder statement point of view? Or is saying that as Ganduja, not the governor?
Now, Ganduje is one person that Governor Wike respects a lot. I know at some fora he came up to say that if at all Ganduje had contested for the presidential election, he wouldn't dare try to even join the race of monthly aspirant or even aspire to be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, going by the antecedents that Ganduje possesses from Wike's point of view. Looking at him and the statements that he's making to Wike. Now, you would understand that as far as Nigeria is concerned, Governor Wike is a very controversial governor. He's a fighting governor. And as far as burning issues are concerned, Governor Wike would always give it as hot as it is. And as hot as Nigeria is at the moment, you would agree that, quite frankly, we need people who are more, would I say, courteous with the way they do things, but more punchy with action plans.
Well, if you're talking about persons who are cautious and yet forward in their action plan, then I think all Nigerians or a majority of Nigerians would agree that Wike fits that profile perfectly well. I mean, this is a person, this is a governor who has shown over time that he just doesn't speak, but he acts. I recall having a conversation on my way to Port Harcourt within the vehicle, the public transport I boarded, and I got to hear that when it comes to clamping down on oil thieves, when it comes to clamping down on illegal refineries, unlike other states that you find, maybe you find the governors seated in their offices without, necessarily going on site, irrespective of the fact that Governor Wike has structures in place, he moved down to the very last place in the community to ensure that these oil thieves, these criminals are being taken care of. Now, it takes a leader who is not afraid of anything within his authority, within his jurisdiction, to walk out from the comfort of his office, walk out from the comfort of his AC car to the worst part of his community, just to ensure that things are done properly.
Well, Francis, that to a large extent is a credit to Governor Wike, but one would think on another line of thought that why would they have to wait until the whole of Rivers State is overtaken by suit before he begins to visit this illegal bunkering site? These places were not manufactured, were not set up overnight. These places have been explored over time as far as Rivers State is concerned. You are not going to tell, or it would be difficult to convince an average Nigerian that Governor Wike just got to find out about suit just towards the end of 2021. That would be a total flop. That would be a false statement, because as far as illegal bunkering is concerned, it has always been within Rivers State and Bayelsa State, and then maybe part of Delta State. So they know that these things were already in existence. Perhaps one would say because he was vying, he had intentions to vie for the office of the president. That was why he had to put up that act to, maybe try to impress people that he can do things. Why did we have to wait? The question is, why did the governor have to wait until the whole state is overtaken by suit?
Now, if you watch the time before Wike came into office and the time he has spent in office and the present situation when it comes to oil bunkering and oil thief and illegal mining in Rivers State, you would understand that it has drastically reduced in a number of such practices.
Absolutely.
And that can be traced to the credit, or can be credited to the governor's actions and its efforts. Now, like you would ask, some part of Nigerians would ask, why did Wike have to wait till the 11th hour to possibly, jump into action? But then one would also ask, those other governors who had existed before him, why didn't they do something about it? And don't forget that
and you'll be pointing fingers at Governor Rotimi Amechi,
so
former
Governor Rotimi Amechi. Now, he's also vying for the same position. So a lot of people would ask, why didn't he do something about it, considering the fact that this is a critical aspect of the national economy? Nigeria is oil dependent, so if somebody has the national interest at heart, it should first be about protecting the national economy. So if he didn't do something about it, Nigerians, a lot of Nigerians would be asking questions. What will he possibly do when given the mandate of leadership? I'm not supporting Wike for staying that long before taking action.
Well,
but what needs to be said must be said. Now, I appreciate the fact that Gandija has said Wike will not win the election.
Oh, you appreciate that fact?
I appreciate the fact that, let's say from a morality standpoint, that he's being honest in all ramifications
from his standpoint, because it's to a large extent it's not the determining factor.
Yes.
His statements cannot determine whether or not Governor Wike would win the primaries.
Of course, we know his statement cannot determine whether or not Governor Wike wins. I mean, if he was in the PDP, we could say, okay, maybe he has a larger influence as a stakeholder in the party, but he's of the APC, so it doesn't really hold grounds whether or not he has said that. What matters is Wike's structure. What matters is Wike's ability to convince the electorate, the party members, to vote for him or to choose him as their flag bearer. And should he be able to do that, he's going to definitely win. Now, we have seen situations where we have political office holders, we have politicians come out to say XYZ is not going to win, XYZ is not qualified, XYZ is not suitable for the job, and then we wake up at the end of the day, the Nigerian masses say, this is the person that is suited for the job, this is the person that we want for the job, and this is the person we are entrusting our rights and liberty into his custody. And that happens. I
feel the president's pronouncement of his preferred successor would shock a lot of Nigerians, because quite frankly it might be maybe something close to what happened in Akwa Ibom State, when we had the big shots who have been in politics, who have started from the grassroots, who have been through maybe from the inception of this administration, served as a commissioner, and maybe anticipated. There were names that popped up before now that could possibly be the governor's preferred aspirants, but then we saw the governor take a slide or a swoop on everyone and took everyone by surprise and shocked by his preferred choice of aspirant as far as governorship elections is concerned in Akwa Ibom State and under the People's Democratic Party. I feel that might be to a large extent what should be expected coming from the president. Already we've had the big shots come up, but however, Senator Aline Dume's comment might to a large extent represents the president's comment, because as far as APC is concerned, he's also a key player, a key stakeholder in the All Progressives Congress. That will, if he says that, that means he's already mobilizing support or delegate support for former Governor Rotimi Amechi, which of course did not do so well for some people's perspective in the South here, because he was entrusted as the Minister for Transport, which of course he still holds that position till now. And then what happened was that we had rail tracks moved all across the northern Nigeria, moved to some parts of the east, and a little bit moved from Nigeria to Niger, but not one was traced from perhaps River State to Akwa Ibom and all of that. And you know, surprisingly, what happened was that during his declaration, he announced that they will begin constructions of all of this and that axis. And I was wondering what nerves, because to say that means that you are so sure that maybe perhaps you are the one in charge of awarding the contract, and you know that you are going to stay forward to pull through such projects, because I see no reason you have few months to wrap up this administration, and you want to, you know, you are making promises for such a capital-intensive project. But well, it is what the politicians say it is, and we'll move ahead. Former Governor of Akwa Ibom State and former Senate Minority Leader Senator Godswill Akpabio was at the Presidential Banquet Hall for the breaking of fast with President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday. That was yesterday, April 19, 2022, and a meeting which is perceived to be connected with his presidential ambition. You would recall that it was reported on Monday by some of his close aides that all was set for the Minister for Niger Delta, Governor Godswill Akpabio, or former Governor Godswill Akpabio, grand declaration of interest. And of course, the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, was seen exchanging pleasantries with colleagues and chieftains of the declaration of former Governor Godswill Akpabio.
Well, it's impossible for persons to get hypertension just waiting for the senator to, you know, announce his declaration officially to join the presidential race.
And what if he does not declare?
But yeah, there are possibilities. You know, one thing about Senator Akpabio is that he is a very calculative man. He's a very wise man who doesn't just, wake up and take decisions, who doesn't just ride on the impulse of the elite member, because if you have the masses and you don't have the elite, it is the elite who would in turn affect the decisions of the masses. So I think at this point, he's doing everything behind closed doors to ensure that he has, to a large extent, possibly the chance of clinching the ticket before making that official declaration. And then talking about his personality, I mean, if anybody was going to say somebody has a national personality that cuts across all the different geopolitical zones in Nigeria, then this is the person who possibly has that. Because within his time as the governor of Akwa Ibom State, we recall that we had several events, several occasions where he, as a governor that then was welcome in the northern part of Nigeria. And then as he moved into the Ministry of Niger Delta, you will have his romance with the northerners is got to a significant level, increased significantly. That there's possibly, if you're on a social media, if you're social media savvy, you're always on the internet, you would agree with me that there is hardly a day or a week that goes by without us having to see the Minister for Niger Delta in some relation meeting, in some events, in some gathering with stakeholders from the northern side of the country. So if he's well accepted that much, and that romance within the party system and outside the party system, to a large extent, could work in his favor.
Well, Francis, one would be tempted to believe so. And frankly speaking, as far as national figures are concerned, I think Godswill Akpabio has been able to put himself or place himself in that standard. And if you talk about national candidates, he's one person that would join that league of former Governor Rotimi Amaechi, or perhaps even more, as a national candidate. Maybe Senator Alin Dume is saying this on the backdrop that he has not seen characters or personalities like former Governor Godswill Akpabio, someone that would thrill the whole crowd with his comic relief and then still go ahead and bring out dividends of democracy, regardless of the odds, regardless of the financial status. This is one person that does not believe in limitations. This is one person that if he sets his heart to get a particular task done and has a time limit for it, he will ensure to that is done. But well, we would watch and see whether or not the Senate, former Senate Minority Leader, and of course the Minister for Niger Delta would actually declare his intentions to join the presidential race. We definitely will see
that declaration come forward if he finally agrees to the fact and has weighed his option and everything is going to stand in his favor. Remember, he's a wise man, and a wise man doesn't make any move without confirming everything, dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
Well,
and then meanwhile, in Akwa Ibom State, the peaceful nature of the state is becoming questionable with the alleged kidnap of the senior pastor of the Solid Rock Kingdom Church, Apostle Dr. John Okoriko. As at the time of filing this report, there has been no official information on the reason of his kidnap. However, it is alleged by some members that the pastor had problems with his community, hence his decision to move the church headquarters elsewhere.
Well, community problems, and now this is one state that has enjoyed massive peace. This is one state that prides itself to be one of the most peaceful states as far as Nigeria is concerned. This is where we address as the Nigeria's best kept secret. This state has been on the map. Whoever comes to this state, it's not a pedestrian state, it's a destination state that if you're coming here, you know you're coming here. You're not moving from here to anywhere else. So you're coming here, and when you get here, the serenity, the ambience, everything about Akwa Ibom is different. And gone are the days where we had these issues of kidnap, but shockingly, well, our peace is in question at the moment.
Well,
sadly.
It is one of the things that you would expect with an election period. It is, in as much as we condemn kidnapping, it is as much as it's an act of violence. I don't think Nigeria, any electioneering period in Nigeria has ever been complete without series of stories of kidnap or assassination and all of that. In as much as one would hope that at this point we should be looking at playing civil politics where we show a manifesto, where politicians come to tell Nigerians their manifesto, come to, show their credibility and try to outsmart their opponents or their colleagues in the bid or in the game by showing Nigerians, giving Nigerians more reason, showing Nigerians more reason why they should be Nigeria's preferred candidate. But in as much as that has been said, I think at this point, like the story has said, no one can ascertain to why the pastor has been kidnapped, whether it's related to his issues with his community or it goes away from the community. It will take only the law enforcement officers or the police, the investigating agencies to come out to tell us after due diligence what actually transpired, why he was kidnapped, or what the reasons behind his kidnapping is.
Exactly, and this is when we are in the era of maintain peace movement. I wonder whether those persons are actually imported from somewhere, because every Akwa person is registered with the consciousness of the maintain peace movement. It has gone far than just a movement. It has become a consciousness in the minds of every person. I mean, you get on the social media space, you see maintain peace, then you try to write something that might be insightful, and there in the comments you will see maintain peace somewhere down there. I don't know where these hoodlums are coming from.
Well, when it comes to the social media, you would always know that that's the hilarious part of the society, where even the slightest thing you say would be misconstrued to mean a different thing. And so sometimes when you see maintain peace on the social media, it's basically to humor people and, it's like the issue of the child who said, "Mommy, calm down, mommy, calm down." And it became a slogan that everybody uses in every situation, whether or not it connects. So that's what we've been seeing on the social media with the maintain peace movement. But then, at this point in time, I think Akwa Ibomites rather should be more concerned about maintaining the peace. And to maintain that peace, recall the last time we had a conversation bordering on the maintenance of peace. We did say it would take two persons to maintain peace in a community. I mean, you're not the only person living. So if, for instance, you're maintaining peace and the other person has reasons to not maintain peace with you, then the peace is not going to be there. So it is a collective responsibility from the PDP to the APC to Grand Alliance and all other political parties, and of course the community, to the traditional leaders, to the law enforcement officers. Everybody needs to play its own part if we're going to maintain peace. And I think it's about time we put an end to that era of having to resort to kidnapping, to make her point felt. If we get to that point, I mean, we can always dialogue, we can always talk, we can always disagree to agree without necessarily taking to arms.
Well, that's to a large extent is what should be the narrative, and then we look forward to that, and we wish that these persons release already the apostle to get around his religious business, and that is what we look forward to. Meanwhile, we'll bring you updates on developments on that particular story, and also we'll try to follow up with what people are saying on the social media space as to the kidnap of Apostle John Okoriko. And we'll take a breather right now, and when we return, we'll continue with the remains of political spectrum, which of course will take the burning issue, and then we'll dive into the main issue of discourse. Don't you go away, we'll be back after now. In every election, voters and civic education are necessary to ensure that all constituents, men and women, understand their rights, their political system, the contests they are being asked to decide upon, and how and where to vote. For an election to be successful and democratic, voters must understand their rights and responsibilities and must be sufficient knowledge and well informed to cast ballots that are legally valid and to participate meaningfully in the voting process. Voter and civic education are even more critical in post conflict countries where political situations may be volatile and where election may have an unprecedented impact on the country's future. As Nigeria prepares for 2023 general elections, a lot of plans are on ground. First, is the issue with Electoral Acts Amendment Bill, and here are 10 provisions that bill offers. Clause 29. Every political party shall not later than 180 days before the date appointed for general election submit the list of candidates that the party proposes to sponsor at the election to the Commission, who must have emerged from valid primaries conducted by the political party. Clause 8. A person who, being a member of a political party, misrepresents himself by not disclosing his membership, affiliation, or connection to any political party in order to secure appointment with the Commission in any capacity commits an offense and is liable on conviction to pay a fine of 5 million naira or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years or both. Clause 94. The period of public campaigns by political parties has been extended from 90 days to 150 days before polling day and ends 24 hours prior to the day. Clause 65. The bill confers INEC with the power to review declarations and returns made under questionable circumstances to keep returning officers in check and ensure full compliance with electoral guidelines. Clause 34. The new bill addresses a lacuna in the current electoral law, which was manifest in the 2015 governorship elections in Kogi State, where a candidate died before the result of the election was announced. The bill affords political parties the opportunity to conduct primary elections to replace a candidate who dies after the commencement of polls and before the announcement of final result and declaration of a winner. Clause 51. According to the bill, overvoting occurs when the number of votes cast at an election in any polling unit exceeds the total number of accredited voters in the polling unit. With this new provision, total number of accredited voters will become a determinant factor in the validity of votes in an election. The outdated determination has been exploited by politicians to manipulate electoral outcomes. Clause 47. The bill makes provision for electronic accreditation of voters using the smart card readers or any technological device as may be determined by INEC. Clause 54. The Commission shall take reasonable steps to ensure that persons with disabilities, special needs, and vulnerable persons are assisted at the polling place by the provisions of suitable means of communication, device or sign language, interpretation, or off-site voting in appropriate cases. Clause 3. The bill strengthens the financial independence of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) by ensuring that all funding required for a general election is released not later than 1 year before the next general elections. Clause 50. The bill confers INEC with the power to determine whether election results are transmitted electronically or manually.
However, the National Assembly has passed the harmonized version of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. The harmonized version passed by the lawmakers during a plenary is the final agreed version between the Senate and House of Representatives on the amendment to Clause 84 of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, which allows direct, indirect, and consensus mode of primaries for political parties.
allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Glad to have you back. Yes, this is still Political Spectrum, reaching you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakoran. And yes, we are going to dive into the burning issue for the week, which happens to be ASUU strike, the battle between ASUU and the federal government of Nigeria, which seems not to have an end in sight.
Well, at this point in time, in as much as Nigerians want what's best for the academic environment, I think some persons will be sympathetic with ASUU at this point because they are demanding for not just their welfare, they're also demanding for the welfare of the Nigerian educational system. And anybody who is demanding for the welfare of the educational system is asking for the betterment of the Nigerian society. And a lot of persons would say at this point it is very critical in order not to have statements such as the one that Lai Mohammed recently said, that we do not have, Nigerian graduates who have workable skills and the likes of them. We need to ensure that the academic environment is properly taken care of, is properly invested in order to have the quality, the standard of academic excellence that we deserve and desire or that is demanded also in the workforce.
Absolutely. So here is opinions of citizens of this country and some students of some public institutions who are begging the government and soliciting that ASUU and government come to a compromise. Let's hear them.
Okay, my name is Isaiah Udojunu. Concerning this ASUU federal government issue, I don't really think ASUU in a way is doing a very bad thing, because actually they need this agreement to be made by the federal government for the teachers, the lecturers should be able to get their salaries and every other thing. So in a way I would say that ASUU somehow should be considerate, but something should be done. They should have an agreement of a date that federal government is going to meet their need before they go back to school, or probably go back to school. And after that date, if the federal government fails to meet their need, they have to call back the strike.
My name is Unyume Cyril. Well, concerning the ASUU strike, I don't think they are doing any bad thing, honestly. You would agree with me that as much as students are being kept in the house, lecturers themselves, they need this money to take care of their families. They have wives, they have children, they have different businesses they need to take care of. So if the federal government does not pay them, how do they meet up this physiological needs? It is very, very important. And then secondly, I would like to advise the students, my darlings, don't stay at home. Since we don't know when they are calling off the strike, go and learn a trade, go and learn a skill. Maybe fashion designing, it could be hairdressing, could be cobbling of shoes. It could just be anything, so that you don't waste your time staying at home and waiting for the federal government. It's even a plus for you. So by the time they are done with their different disagreement and agreement, you're going back equipped, you're going back more productive. Get a little machine and so while you're getting your money, and take care of yourself in school. That's all I have to say.
Hello, good morning. My name is Emmanuel Nieti. level 300 student in the University of Uyo. I want to say that this ongoing ASU strike really affects we students. Take for example, I got admission 2018. I'm supposed to graduate this year, but here I am, still in level 300. It doesn't really make sense for us, we students. Just like the Minister of Education for State have said, why is ASU going on strike when they will be paid later on when the strike is being called off? So you can see that it is we students that are suffering this. We want to get back to school as soon as possible. So we just wish in the coming days that ASU and federal government, they should be able to find a solution to this strike. Dr. Chris Ngige have said that strike is not the only option for ASU to be taken, which I agreed with him. So ASU should just please, for the sake of the students, pardon us, call off the strike, and let's go back to the classroom so that we can graduate on time, because time doesn't wait for anyone. Thank you.
I'm Prince Joseph Orok, a final year student. On this ASU issue, I would say ASU should please try and liaise with the government and the federal government. If there is any way they can at least try and reopen school, that students should go back to school. Like now, I'm in final year, and what's my position now? Because I don't really know. How long will it take for me to finish my clearance, my project clearance, and now go to service? It's something I sit back and think, because it's dragging me, like kind of dragging me back. So I will plead with the federal government, please, if there is anything you can do to save us from this stress we are going through. Most of us are going out a day to learn trade. Yeah, it's good for us. But at the same time, let's just finish school and know that we finished what we started. We've finished that step, and now we are taking another step. Please, this is what I would talk to the federal government. Just try and help us, the students. Thank you.
Okay, I am Edidion Martin. For this ASU strike issue, I would like to plead with the federal government to
level 300 student in the University of Uyo. I want to say that this ongoing ASU strike really affects we students. Take for example, I got admission 2018. I'm supposed to graduate this year, but here I am, still in level 300. It doesn't really make sense for us, we students. Just like the Minister of Education for State have said, why is ASU going on strike when
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by cross them. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My Lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My Lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my Lord.
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord. These cases are in court, my Lord. I'm just reminding your Lordship.
My Lord, sorry, my Lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Okay, my name is Isaiah Udo Jr. Concerning this ASU federal government issue, I don't really think ASU in a way is doing a very bad thing, because actually they need this agreement to be made by the federal government for, the teachers, the lecturers should be able to get their salaries and every other thing. So in a way, I would say that ASU somehow should be considered, but something should be done. They should have an agreement of a date that federal government is going to meet their need before they go back to school, or probably go back to school. And after that date, if the federal government fails to meet their need, they have to call back to strike.
My name is Cyril. Well, concerning the ASU strike, I don't think they are doing any bad thing, honestly. You would agree with me that as much as students are being kept in the house, lecturers themselves, they need this money to take care of their families. They have wives, they have children, they have different businesses they need to take care of. So if the federal government does not pay them, how do they meet up this physiological needs? It is very, very important. And then secondly, I would like to advise the students, my darlings, don't stay at home. Since we don't know when they are calling off the strike, go and learn a trade, go and learn a skill. Maybe fashion designing, it could be hairdressing, could be cobbling of shoes. It could just be anything, so that you don't waste your time staying at home and waiting for the federal government. It's even a plus for you. So by the time they are done with their different disagreement and agreement, you're going back equipped, you're going back more productive. Get your little machine and so while you're getting your money, and take care of yourself in school. That's all I have to say.
Hello, good morning. My name is Emmanuel Nieti, level 300 student in the University of Uyo. I want to say that this ongoing ASU strike really affects we students. Take for example, I got admission 2018. I'm supposed to graduate this year, but here I am, still in level 300. It doesn't really make sense for us, we students. Just like the Minister of Education for State have said, why is ASU going on strike when they will be paid later on when the strike is being called off? So you can see that it is we students that are suffering this. We want to get back to school as soon as possible. So we just wish in the coming days that ASU and federal government, they should be able to find a solution to this strike. Dr. Chris Ngige have said that strike is not the only option for ASU to be taken, which I agreed with him. So ASU should just please, for the sake of the students, pardon us, call off the strike, and let's go back to the classroom so that we can graduate on time, because time doesn't wait for anyone. Thank you.
I'm Prince Joseph Orok, a final year student. On this ASU issue, I would say ASU should please try and liaise with the government and the federal government. If there is any way they can at least try and reopen school, that students should go back to school. Like now, I'm in final year, and what's my position now? Because I don't really know. How long will it take for me to finish my clearance, my project clearance, and now go to service? It's something I sit back and think, because it's dragging me, like kind of dragging me back. So I will plead with the federal government, please, if there is anything you can do to save us from this stress we are going through. Most of us are going out a day to learn trade. Yeah, it's good for us. But at the same time, let's just finish school and know that we finished what we started. We've finished that step, and now we are taking another step. Please, this is what I would
Nigerian police force, which is the only one allowed by gross level. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but you can't be talking about cases which are in court, my lord.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord. I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Glad to have you back. Yes, this is still Political Spectrum, reaching you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakoran. And yes, this is the part where we have exclusive interview with personalities addressing top issues that are of burning interest. And now we'll be taking a look at Governor Emmanuel's blueprint and the future in Umoino, of course, the new breed's perspective. So we have in our studios this morning joining us on this conversation our officials from New Breed. At the far end there I have Kufre Okwo, the ASA to the Governor of Akwa Ibom State on ICT. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And of course, Engineer Edwin BSA,
yes,
the media consultant.
Thank you very much for
Good to
having us.
have you, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, now you are key players from the New Breed, and of course, from all looks of things, New Breed is classified as a group that is interested in, bringing up skills, getting people to acquire skills for sustainable development. And that group holds more than 250 persons. How far would you say?
75,000 people, you mean?
75?
Yes.
Well, from the group, I saw about 215 there.
Talking about the trainees now.
Trainees? Okay.
Okay.
Those you have trained?
Yeah, those who have trained so far, 250, over 200.
To get the figure straight, we have trained over 700 people. In November 2021, we had 311 graduates. That's when we had our graduation. So since then to now, additional 420 people have been trained free by the New Breed.
Well, so far, I'm concerned about the modus operandi of New Breed. How do you get these persons? How do you scout for them?
All right, New Breed is not biased. We're not concerned about political party that's not what we're doing. First of all, we need to see Akwa Ibom where youths are very responsible and they take responsibility for the good and the bad things they do. And then we also know that we have lots of talents that probably because of opportunity and people to help them push, they've not been able to actualize those dreams that we're looking out for. So we've tried to cut across all the local governments in Akwa Ibom State. So we're not telling you bring your party card. We're just saying if you're willing to do something and earn a living, then New Breed is the place to come. So we have people who are training for catering. We have people who are training for leather works, for fashion, for ICT, for many other things. Like we have different departments and people come over there and then train for free. Like you don't have to pay a dime. And then apart from that, we also give starter packs. Like the first graduation we did in the Bob Hall last year, we gave starter pack to people, best graduates from New Breed Training School. That's what we do.
Well, Mr. Kufuor, I'll come to you because I know you are the answer to the governor, and then that represents the People's Democratic Party, and you're saying New Breed cuts across all political parties. He's saying that it's regardless of your political affiliation.
Of course.
How true is that? Because we know in this state that APC and PDP, there's some form of cat and dog. They don't want to see each other.
Well, our model is a non-bipartisan approach. What do I mean by that? You invite everybody, APC, PDP, they come in, get trained for free. At the end of the day, when they're walking out, you'll have a thought. This was done by PDP people. What am I still doing at APC? You change your mind and you become a member. We have been winning people like that. So you're free to come in, and once you get trained, you'll be excited. This training costs a lot of money. Like I think last week we had people that passed out. They called me to tell me, "Sir, God will bless the New Breed. God will," these are people that don't know anything about politics, but because of the training we are doing, they want to key in and support the system, support the process. So that system works for us.
So you're basically saying that New Breed stands like a mediator that brings in people from other political parties and recruits them into the People's Democratic Party. Am I correct to say that?
Now, the first thing is we are concerned about how well the good people of Akwa Ibom State are doing. That's the first thing.
Okay.
That's the primary aim. And then the secondary is, yes, we advocate for sustainable development. We advocate for good governance. We preach that people who are responsible, people who have done things in the past and are very responsible and have been able to do things independently to prove that we can trust them with a leadership mantle, are the ones we recommend. So when we offer people, when we allow people to come for our training, we're just simply saying, come here, help us preach this gospel, that people should learn a skill, people should make money legitimately. And then at the end of the day, you decide whether you want to be PDP or APC. But there's no way, you believe me, you trust me if I say, there's no way you will come under the umbrella of PDP to get a good training by New Breed for Sustainable Development. At the end of the day, and then you have the opportunity to vote, and you're going to vote APC after being trained by PDP.
Well, yes, it's interesting to know that your group is a non-partisan. But interestingly, when we talk about leadership, I'll still get to Mr. Kufuor at that. Let's talk about leadership issues within the People's Democratic Party, of which you represent this particular administration as the ace. How would you rate this administration on the tiers of leadership?
Superb.
Superb?
Yeah.
Why so?
Well, you have to look at the governor. In the first time, the 5-point agenda, human capacity development, infrastructure, agriculture, and others. He has done excellently well in all fields. You look at let's start with the aviation sector, total overall of that sector. Ibome is doing very well, very, very well. They recorded their 1 millionth flight, passenger some months back. They have an agreement with the airline company to get Airbus to get 10 planes. Then you go and check on Saturday. I was at the new terminal. You need to see what's going on there. It's going to be the most technologically advanced terminal in Nigeria and sub-Saharan Africa. Yeah. So we look at infrastructure. It's not only building roads, it's building economically viable roads. Eket Senatorial District for the past, since 1999 to 2015, never had a dual lane constructed by any government in Akwa Ibom State. It is on record that Governor Udom is the first person to do that. The Eket Ibuno Road, you know, having ExxonMobil that gives us the money in Akwa Ibom, we saw the need for that. So you look at we can talk about agriculture, you can talk about the industries. I think the past administration made mention of bringing 31 industries to each LG will have an industry. After 2015, we saw none. But despite the recession and voodoo economy that is currently practiced by the federal government, Governor Dom has been able to attract industries that people are working and earning a good living.
Well, Mr. Edwin, I'm concerned with your NGO, which is non-partisan, actually, you know, being involved with a particular experience, perhaps maybe because it's the governor's preferred choice. I know that the New Breed, of course, supports the aspirations of Pastor Moino. Why so?
Okay, when you're talking about Moino, you're talking about an individual that's been doing business since 1999, long before 1999. I don't know if you understand.
I understand.
He actually came to Akwa Ibom to invest at a time that military did not really allow people to do certain things like that. And then he took the risk to come back home, invest, employ Akwa Ibom people. He's been very consistent in this business. So if he can do that for himself, and that brand has been flying from that time till now, that consistency is what I'm concerned about. Apart from that, well, there are other things you have to look out for when you're trying to choose a leader. Somebody who will listen to you, somebody that you text and he responds to you, somebody who is willing to come down to the people and say, what do you guys really want? We don't have to become a member of a particular group. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. I don't want to say cultism and all of that. I don't want to mention that here. But then, this guy is one person that has been a way to go also, brought the money back home, invested in Akwa Ibom State. Sometimes we see people make money from Akwa Ibom and they go to invest in Dubai, go to other places to invest. Now we're seeing a man that is passionate about his people. He has employed nothing less than 500 people. He's currently doing well for himself and his brand. So we can trust him with more.
So are you trusting him from the entrepreneurial part of it, or are you trusting him because the governor actually prefers him? Because you agree that to a large extent, it's not the only entrepreneur who is throwing himself into the governorship race. Yes, we have the likes of Akanudofia, who is doing pretty well in terms of business and also doing well for himself. So, and New Breed does not seem to, you know, be going that direction. Why do you think, what informed the choice of your...
Okay, so you said he did not throw himself for the governorship position. No, he aspired to become the governor of Akwa Ibom State. He has consulted people. Please support me to become the governor of
well,
Akwa Ibom
that came after the governor's pronouncement on the 31st of July.
But he did some consultation before that pronouncement. I don't know if you're not aware. Yes, he did. So prior to that time, New Breed, Pastor Moino consulted New Breed, had been talking to New Breed because of what we stand for. And he told us in confidence that he wants to run that race of becoming the governor of Akwa Ibom State. That will push the dreams of New Breed, which is to sustain development in Akwa Ibom and get every young person out there working. I don't believe in people waking up early in the morning and going to politicians' gate to say, my leader, my leader. When you have 2 hands and 2 legs, you're supposed to take responsibility and go out and earn a living, which is what Moino is standing for. He might not throw money around, might not give you 10,000, give Christo 10,000 and every other person. But he will create an enabling environment for you who is talented to come in and do business and make money. And for Christo, who is also business oriented, to come in and make money. That's the kind of people we want. Not people that will throw money around and then at the end of the day, if you're done with that, you go back the next day and they tell you, sorry, I can't take your calls.
Well, Mr. Kufe, I know you're itching to say something, but let me come for you from this point of view. Yes, Pastor Mano is doing well as an entrepreneur, and also because he wants to replicate that in the larger society, the entirety of Akwa Ibom State. I'm looking at, is the group, since it's non-partisan, welcoming to other people who might want to join, other entrepreneurs who are also, you know, throwing themselves into the governorship race to maybe come share in the dream and visions of New Breed?
For now, I don't think we're not interested.
Mm.
You know, we are a straightforward organization. Before we come to any decision, we deliberate, to sit down, analyze, and deliberate. So, having Pastor Moino, making him our choice, it's not something that we woke up yesterday and said, okay, we have to. No. That is the reason why we are the biggest youth social political organization in Akwa Ibom. We have been here since 2014 and we are still here. Others, if we check as far back as 2014, they are all non-existent. But because how we do our things, who we have made of, the body, the system, our, what word would I use? Okay. Our principles are different. So we are not interested in any other candidate coming to talk to us. Moino is our choice.
Now, let me add to that. Now, New Breed for Sustainable Development has been a group since 2013, towards the end of 2013. I know you're saying 2014 because that was when we started doing very official stuff and becoming really loud. Now, New Breed for Sustainable Development has been in existence since 2013. And since then, it was a group of young people who are already doing something, coming together to say, okay, yes, we can become a force, we can contribute, we can also say, this is what we want, and campaign for somebody that will represent our dreams. That was a group of young entrepreneurs, young professionals that came together. That way, we're not influenced by anybody. Nobody's saying, I gave you 10 million the other day, I gave you 100 million the other day. Nobody in Akwa Ibom can come and say, okay, we are the ones sponsoring New Breed. New Breed is sponsored by a group of young people who sit back, analyze the politics, analyze the business of Akwa Ibom State, analyze what is going on around here, and then decide what they think.
So is it by contributory effort or GoFundMe accounts that you execute some of this high-profile, you know,
that's why we're
trainings?
saying that other youths can also do it. If Christo bring 1 million naira and you bring 10 million naira, that's 11 million naira. With 11 million naira, we can train another 400 people. So these are young people who are doing well for themselves, but they are not selfish. They want to also help.
Okay.
By coming out to say, okay, I have 10 naira. Out of this 10 naira, I can spare 5 naira. Please use this to train more two people to come join us. That way, we'll set up a team of responsible youths that will stand up and say, I will not take 2 naira from you because you're saying I should come and wear a t-shirt and campaign for somebody that will not represent our dream. That's what New Breed is doing. Okay, well, since you say so that the New Breed is not welcoming to other aspirants, we'll leave it at that. But looking at the blueprint of Governor Dom Emmanuel, from your point of view, what would you say is the strongest point that would stand, that something that maybe perhaps if Pastor Moino becomes the governor, might want to consolidate upon? What is that one strong project that would stand out?
Oh, I would say everything he's working on, because I can't leave out the...
Well, some people would say everything is nothing.
Well, okay, I could list them for you. We could start with the aviation sector, making Akwa Ibom the aviation hub of Africa.
Well, that is what it is already.
Well, we are getting there, but not yet there. Then we could also talk about the job creation, because, you know, having Udom here, Udom has tried his best, and I can see he has done well in creating jobs, you know. So even the agriculture, making food sufficiency in Akwa Ibom State, these are things Pastor Omoino would work on and make it even better than what is on ground now. Okay, well,
let me still come to you on that. Yes, you said he will consolidate upon job employment, job creation, which of course is one of the core mandates of this administration. But looking at perhaps you pushing forward to see if he becomes the governor, where would Akwa Ibom be in the next 4 years of his administration? Now, I'm asking that because when Governor Udom Emmanuel assumed office, his first 4 years was characterized by lots of castigations of people saying, yes, the governor is not doing well in that aspect, and that was, that led to the massive defection that happened in this state. Are we looking forward to see such play out again, or is there going to be anything different? Where do you see Akwa Ibom in the next 4 years, in the first term of governing the next 4 years?
I would like to answer the 4 years question while you answer the remaining one. You mentioned about massive defections in PDP in 2018. And what I can remember was that Senator Akpabio defected, and his brother and some of his kinsmen, some of his village men followed him. Why am I saying this is because you have an Akwa Ibom that a lot of people felt, oh, Akpabio turned boys to men, meaning if he's going to APC, all these men will follow him. What happened? Nobody followed him. Rather, they followed Husabi Road. You know what that Husabi Road means? You have the likes of Prince Akpabio. You didn't follow him. You have Enoidem. You didn't follow him. If your own men, your own friends over the years don't follow you, I thought we don't perform very well in the first 4 years. Akwa Ibom people we're yet to be, we need a paradigm shift.
We call it Benin Senatorial District is not okay, something like that. And I think that was a build up towards the elections like this. And well, the likes of the Commissioner for Culture and Tourism then also defected, in as much as some persons that you mentioned did not defect, but you will agree that it was characterized by a massive defection.
When you talk of massive defection, like I've seen in states, when Ayade defected, all the commissioners followed him, House of Assembly members followed him, a lot followed him. That is what is called massive defection. Now when you have two people following you and you call, it's not massive, please, except I am not aware of what massive means. So Edwin, over to you.
Akpabio's friends decided to follow him because of probably the few they owe Akpabio. He made them, like you said. I did not say it.
Well,
he turned boys to men.
I actually said it.
Okay.
That's the general.
Okay, boys to men. I would not want to toe that line. But talking about defection in Akwa Ibom State, somebody like Victor Antai will follow Akpabio because, like you said, Akpabio made him.
You're still making reference to like I said. No, that wasn't my question.
Okay, like Christo said.
Okay.
He made him. Few friends and family members that decided to follow their Oga, which Christo was correct when he said, well, friends and family members.
Okay, let's wrap up with this now and at the moment. Looking forward, like I asked, the future of New Breed. Now, rough case scenario, we've talked about perhaps Pastor Moina becomes the governor. Perhaps he doesn't become the governor. Rough case scenario, what's the way forward for New Breed?
New Breed is not a group that a political office holder would decide the future. New Breed is a group of a young, reasonable, responsible, whether Umoino becomes the governor or not, New Breed will survive till eternity. Okay. I say that to say that when we supported Udom Gabriel Emmanuel in 2013, we did not know whether he will win the governorship race or not. We were the first group that told Udom, we believe in what you stand for. At least you've been in the bank and you've grown from the ranks to getting to
it boils down to what you believe in.
What we believe.
All right, quickly, Kufe, let's get your last thought on this quickly.
Well, I think we've equally skipped one very important topic, by our governor, Mr. Udom Emmanuel, is so that he can replicate what he's doing in Akwa Ibom, bringing peace and prosperity. This is a rescue project. Nigeria needs to be rescued from what the doom APC has thrown us into. So
which, of course, they can stress it back to the 16 years rule of the People's Democratic Party.
But
we'll leave it at that for lack of time. Okay, New Breed is also, scouting for support for His Excellency on his aspiration to mount the #1 position of this kind of conversation. But yes, this is where we put the pause, and we'll be back after this short break. Please stay with us.
them. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court, my lord.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Yes, thanks for staying with us. This is about the time where we'll call it a wrap on Political Spectrum, Wednesday edition.
And yes, it's been an amazing time talking about politics and all the political happenings in the country, in the state, and we do hope that we get to achieve that excellence where we get to know that Nigeria has advanced politically.
Absolutely. We hope to see the better days of Nigeria, and then we wish all aspirants the best of luck in their aspirations, because in the end, we'll only have one president, we'll have one vice president, we'll have one senator per senatorial district, we'll have one governors across each 31 states of the federation, and regardless of how many persons, aspired or contested, one winner takes it all. And then inclusiveness is important.
Very important. We're still going to have just one person, so may the best hand win.
All right, that's our show for today. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Otobasitam.
And I am Frank Cesadet. Thanks for being there.